Today's debate gets heated as a Muslim tries to convince Big Jon Steel that Islam is the truth. But when the arguments start falling apart, from vague appeals to higher powers to false claims about Quranic miracles, Big Jon doesn't just resist. He dismantles everything with calm, razor-sharp logic. Get ready to watch the collapse unfold, point by point. This is one you don't want to miss.
All right, bro. Why should I be a Muslim?
Well, do you believe that everybody thinks honey is sweet without nobody teaching us it?
You don't have to be taught that something's sweet.
Okay, no, I'm saying it's natural that it's sweet to us, right?
So is fruit.
So if you walk by a trash can, even if nobody taught you naturally, you're going to think it smells bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get to the point. Every human being is born with almost the same instincts, correct? Doesn't matter what you are, Christian, Muslim, whatever, right?
To a certain extent, but there's always exception to the rules, of course. And yeah, there's things like acquired taste. That's a thing too. So I'd say some people are born with certain innate abilities. Some people are not. What's your point?
In general, I'm trying to say is we're all alike as human beings. Now, why you should be a Muslim?
I don't agree with that.
Why don't you agree with that?
We're not all alike. We're all very, very different in so many different ways.
I'm saying the essence. Everybody has different personalities, obviously. I'm talking about the essence of every human being is the same, correct?
No.
How?
How is it?
By the sense of that we were all created as human beings. We're different than the animals, clearly. Mm. We have these natural instincts.
Yeah, so we have certain properties that's exclusive to the humankind, sure. So being a rational member would be like an exclusive property. That doesn't mean that we have all have the same innate abilities.
Yeah, but I'm talking in the general sense.
For example, I'm taller than some people. Some people are taller than me. I'm weaker than some people. People are stronger than me. Right? I'm smarter than some people and dumber than some people. To me, the color green is very appealing. To others, the color green is not very appealing.
Well, I was just saying
to me, pineapple on pizza is the most delicious thing in the world. To others, it's pure disgust and disarray. So,
yeah, I'm saying we all have different personalities, but
it's not personality. Those are innate things.
I'm saying the essence of our humanity, it's like we all have a soul, correct?
We all have humanity, if that's the question you're asking.
Yeah, and we're all similar, correct? Doesn't matter what color skin you are.
I don't agree with that. We all have humanity, and we all have the properties that are included in humanity. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and we're equal as human beings, correct?
Well, what do you mean by equal?
By that we all need air to breathe. We all could get injured the same way. We all feel pain. We all have emotions.
That's not equality. That's having human nature. So I agree, all humans have human nature, if that's your question, but it's a ridiculous question. That's like saying all fish have fish nature.
I'm just trying to get to the point that whether you're Muslim or you're Christian, we all have a humanity in us that leads us to the belief in the unseen. Why? Because
and why do we have atheists?
Well, there's people who, because of deceptions and forgeries, they grow ignorance.
Well, they would tell you they were born atheists.
Do you believe this life is a test? Do you believe this life is a test?
No, I don't think it's a test. They would tell you that they're born atheists. You tell them that you would tell them they were led astray. How do I know which one's right?
I know, but why do you not think this life is a test?
Why should I think it's a test?
Well, I don't know. We're the only creatures that could actually sit there and ask God to forgive us and cry out to the Lord and have these conversations, this very conversations.
Why does that make it a test?
Well, I'm going to tell you why it makes it a test.
That just makes us members of rational kinds.
Example, why do kids who are innocent die from cancer, for example, right? Why do earthquakes happen?
Depending on your worldview, it's going to have many different answers. For example, if you hold a Buddhist worldview, you're going to say that is karma being repaid upon you. It's nothing to do about testing. Right.
Okay.
If you hold an atheistic worldview, that you're just going to say that's natural circumstance. It's what you'd expect to see under a naturalistic worldview.
Yeah, but
if you have a Christian worldview, you're going to say that they're suffering due to the possibilities of greater goods. And if you have a Muslim worldview, you're going to say it's a test to see if they remain faithful.
Okay, but if God presented himself clearly to everybody, me and you would not even be having this conversation. This very conversation proves that we're sent to this world lost, and we have to grow, spiritually. You have to go through trials and errors.
Again,
And
this conversation doesn't prove that, because if we were atheistic, we could say that the only reason we're having this conversation is because we're members of rational kind and we want to give information to each other.
Yeah, but I could tell you the same thing. How many atheists became believers? And how many
believers became atheists? Again.
Yeah, exactly. It goes both ways.
But you're not making an argument for anything right now.
I'm saying right now that this life is like, it must be a test. It just doesn't make sense.
Why?
That. What do you mean why?
Why all these prophets,
test? All these religions, it's not a coincidence. Listen, if everybody was beautiful.
How do you know it's not a coincidence?
Because if everybody was beautiful, there would be no such thing as beautiful. If everybody was ugly, there would be no such thing as ugly.
That has nothing to do with anything that was just said. You just said all these prophets, it can't be a coincidence. How do you know it's not a coincidence?
Because what I'm saying is all these differences make us human beings. If everything was the same, or there was only one religion,
that's completely irrelevant to the question I asked. I'll ask it again. You said all these prophets, it can't be a coincidence. How do you know?
Because if Christians don't agree with Muslims and Muslims don't agree with Jews, yet all religions talk about similar things. All three books, example for Jews, Muslims.
We don't talk about the similar things of the prophets of Hinduism.
Well, we don't know everything about the prophets of Hinduism.
They don't say the same things that we say.
They say similar things of belief in the unseen.
What about the prophets of Zoroastrianism, or the prophets of Baal, or the prophets of Moloch? Or the prophets of the Canaanite religions.
Are you an atheist though?
I'm a Christian.
Okay. Did you know that in the Quran it says Jesus is the word of God? Like literally word for word. Did you know that?
And?
I'm saying before we look at our differences, we should look at our similarities and then go on to our differences.
No, thank you.
How come?
Because I'm not going to say this about Muslims. I think there are a lot of great Muslims, great Muslim individuals, but I actually think Islam is an evil religion. Yeah, so I rather not look at our similarities. I rather have Islam abolished.
We both believe Jesus is going to come back. We both believe he was.
You deny his deity. You deny his resurrection. You deny his authority.
We don't deny his resurrection. We deny his death the way he died.
Which means you deny his resurrection. So again, I'm not interested in finding our similarities. Do you have an argument for why Islam is true?
Well, it is in the time of. Hold on, just give me a minute here. At the time of Prophet, example Abraham, there were certain laws that the Jews didn't have, and then humanity progressed. What happened?
This is what you believe. I want a reason why to believe it.
The Torah came, and then
you're just giving me what you believe. I want why to believe it.
Well, for example, in the Quran, there's so many scientific miracles. When I was a kid,
give me one?
For example, the word sun, right? It's mentioned. Let's just say it's mentioned the first time in the Quran. It's mentioned the next time. It's like 5,000 something verses, right? And that specific amount of verses that is separate from the first time it says sun to the second time is the exact temperature of the sun.
Okay, can you prove that claim?
It's proven.
By who?
It's in the Quran.
I've read the Quran. I didn't come to that conclusion.
Or how about this? Somebody came out and said there's a mistake in the Quran. The way you guys said Solomon stepped over the ants in the Arabic language, it's as if he broke glass, right? In the 90s, we finally found out that 70% of ants' outer body is made out of glass. How did a man 1,400 years ago who was illiterate know that? It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, again, claims that you need to back up.
You want me to tell you the verse?
You're making claims, right? I'm not just going to believe you because you said it. So show me the contention. You have to show me people contesting that. Then you have to show me that ants are 90% made out of glass. Then you have to show me the verse to have any sort of reference to this.
Well, I don't have 1,000 followers. I wish I could pull up my...
You don't need 1,000 followers. You just need a basic reason for why you follow your religion.
No, I'm saying I would screen share you the actual verse and the proof of it. What about, have you ever read anything in the Quran about the embryo?
Yeah, it gets it wrong.
How does he get it wrong?
Because it doesn't stay in one singular place that cannot move, and bone does not come from flesh.
How do you know that?
because we've studied this in modern day embryology. So you can go to the Mayo Clinic, right, which is a modern medical clinic, or you can go to Princeton, right, .edu, and you can look at the embryology of that, and it'll show you that the conception happens in the uteri and then travels down the uteri and connects to the uterine wall. It's not a singular place. And then during development, right, you develop, bones do come, but bones don't turn into, our flesh doesn't come from, it says flesh comes from bones, in the Quran it says, we made it a clinging clot, we made the clinging clot into flesh, and we turned the flesh into bones. It doesn't happen. It's the other way around. Bones come first, then flesh.
Can I just double check that?
Go for it. And while you're double checking it, come back up after you found out it's wrong. God bless you. Appreciate your time.
That was something. Here are 3 things we learned today. First, vague feelings about a higher power don't prove any specific religion true. Second, pointing out similarities between faiths doesn't make Islam right. It just shows overlap. And third, supposed scientific miracles in the Quran collapse under real modern science. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed Big Jon's breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep seeking the truth.